All right, welcome back. So I told you guys I was going to show you some cool effects in Photoshop. The first one I want to show you is the Liquify tool. It's something that I use pretty often and really comes in handy at kind of fine-tuning your brides or any female or even male subjects. There's three key areas that I usually will look at to determine if I'm going to liquify or not. The first area is their arms. Women are very sensitive about their arms, and who can blame them? You know, majority of the time when you're posing for a photo, you might have your hand down, and what happens is when your arm is against your body, it kind of squeezes against there, and the arm becomes bigger and kind of widens. And so a lot of women have that issue, especially if they're wearing sleeveless gowns or things like that. So I always tell them to kind of, whenever they're posing for a photo, just separate a little bit. This particular lady is doing a very good job of separating her body. You'll notice that none of her arm is touching her body. She's really rocking the pose. And there's really minimal, if any, liquefying I would do here. So that's the first area. The first area is the arms. Second area is the stomach area. The third area is the double chin. Always an issue with a double chin. The best way to get rid of a double chin is to kind of jut out, kind of point your chin, like crane your neck forward more or less, and then look down just a little bit. And that gets rid of that double chin versus if you pull back, that chin starts to kind of show up. So craning is always the best. Anyway, I'm going to show you what Liquify looks like. You can get to Liquify two ways. You can either hit Command Shift X, and that brings up the dialog box, or you can hit Filter, Liquify. Oops, I don't know what vanishing point is. Liquify. So the first tool that you should learn to use in Liquify is I believe it's the forward warp tool. You can hit that W, and that'll bring you to the forward warp tool, or you can just hit this top finger looking thing right here. So I'm gonna make the brush a little bit bigger by hitting the bracket key, the right bracket key, and I'm going to push this in. I always like a bigger brush versus a smaller one. Like, for example, if I were to, edit this with a smaller brush and just like the size that I thought, then it kind of becomes, kind of tedious and like almost too exact. Like you see, I've kind of created a ripple in her stomach, and that's not real. So I'm going to back off here, and I'm going to make just a bigger brush and just kind of push it all in at once. Boom, done. Very easy. Another tool you should be aware of is the Freeze tool, which is located right about here. So you can click F on your keyboard, and that'll bring you to the Freeze tool, or you hit this icon right here. And what the Freeze tool does is it allows you to kind of put a mask on your warps, on your liquefies. So if, say, you don't want the fingers to be touched here, you just kind of draw this red thing, go back to your warp tool, W, and then you can kind of push this. And it's like, if I wanted to be here, then I'm not going to be affecting the fingers when I'm pushing her stomach in. So that's just a nice trick. It also helps with edges of photographs. So if I want to push this in here, I don't want to, if you'll notice, I move the entire canvas. You see the transparent checkered background behind that, so I don't want to reveal that. So what I do is I just kind of make this smaller. Just kind of draw a little bit of a line, and then when I go to warp it, it doesn't bring up the entire canvas. Freeze her arm here, give her a little more curve. And that's it, more or less. Now you can tell before, after, before, after. Now this isn't a perfect job by any means, but you can kind of just get an idea of the power of Liquify. If you wanted to make her arms a little smaller, you can do that. See, I kind of do it all, just kind of do quick rapid strokes all the way down evenly around her arm. you know. But again, this lady in particular has very little to liquefy. So I would just hit OK. And that is Liquify. There's a couple of tools in here that I didn't know about until recently. The first one is the pucker tool? Pucker tool. You get that by hitting S. So the pucker tool kind of sucks everything in. So it works really well around double chin. So if you just kind of go in here, she doesn't really have a double chin, but you can, let me zoom in so you can see that better. There you go. See how it kind of just sucks everything in. And it's very subtle if you do it right. Very subtle. And then the opposite tool is the Bloat Tool. And I think that's B. Yeah, B. So, you know, the Bloat Tool, you can you can do things like that. I would obviously, never do that, but these are things to consider. They are at your control disposal if you ever need to use them. Liquify, Shift Command X is incredibly powerful. So use it at your own discretion.